Okay, happy evening, dear friends. Today we are going to discuss about the flow control. Would you just let me know whether I am audible? Just put it on a yes on your chat box. Can I hear some yes? Yes. Am I audible? Yes, I think so. Yeah, okay. Dear friends, am I audible? Or you just put me an S on the chat box? Yeah, thank you, dear friends. Thank you. Yeah. Dear friends, today we are just going to discuss on flow controls. Yeah, of course, we are just going to discuss from the previous sessions also. Let I just make a small summarization onto the previous session. So, yeah, dear friends, in the flow control, we have three types of statements. Yes, of course. See, actually, this exact flow control, it is to make a decision-making statements. That is that help in deciding the flow of the program. And kindly just observe this, which we have already discussed. Yes, of course, there are three types of statements is there, which I have already discussed. Yes, one is conditional statement, iterative statement, and transfer statement. Dear friends, as I have already specified, yes, these conditional statements act depending on whether a given condition is true or false, and you can execute different blocks of codes depending on the outcome of a condition. When I'm just going towards this iterative statement, yes, dear friend, iterative statements allows us to execute a block of code repeatedly as long as the condition is true. And we also can call it a loop statement. And yeah, dear friends, of course, this exact loop statement, there are of two types. One is for loop and while loop. And this last third type, yes, yeah, we are just going to make it this with a transfer statement, and these are all used to alter the program's way of execution in a certain manner. And of course, in this also there are three types. One is break, continue, and the next one is pass. And of course, dear friends, actually we have already discussed about this if loop, if else, and yeah, on to the previous session when I'm just discussing this elif process, I think we got a small signal interruption, so I just the exact session got interrupted, so we just stopped that. So I just want to have a small again make a small overview onto this. Kindly just observe. So yeah, this exact if statement, so how it has to be is, yeah, if towards the condition. So if this exact condition is true, the statement below to this, the statement inside the block would get executed. So that is what we have just seen. And yeah, we have discussed with few of the programs. I think so you are able to understand. And do you have any doubts onto that? Okay, yeah, I think Prabhu is online. Yeah. Do you have any doubts, so that if I can just get it clarified, or then we can just move on? So here, yeah, what we have discussed is, yes, so we have an if and towards the condition. Kindly just observe, this is the exact condition, and if this condition is true, yeah, the statement below would get executed. If this exact statement is false, yeah, the statement flow, the control flow would never enters into this, rather than it just jumps towards the next statement of this if statement. So that is what usually happen when on if condition. And yeah, the next type we just discussed is all about if towards the condition, kindly just observe, dear friend, if you have a true statement, if you have a true condition, this exact expression, if it is true, yeah, the statement below this would get executed. If it is not, yeah, the statement under the else, that is on false case, if you have few more statements to be executed, yeah, on to the condition, if it is false, it jumps to the else condition. And kindly just observe here, we would have only the else and to the colon as like a syntax. Here there won't be any condition because we are checking the condition here, and with the checking the condition, if it is true, enters here, or if it is not, it just jumps on towards this. So this is both the things we have discussed on the day, dear friends. And yeah, what we are going to see is the further one. If you are having more than a condition, if you are having more than a condition in the sense, kindly observe one thing, dear friends. So here, if, and here we have a condition, and towards this is the syntax. So if this is true, we would have a statement below this. If it is not, I have one more condition to check. So that, observe, dear friend, here it is else, and with the combination of if, we have a condition. And yeah, this would be specified as like elif. And observe, dear friend, this elif towards this condition, yeah, if this is true, yeah, it just execute what are all the statement under this. And if it is not, again, it just goes towards the next. And kindly observe, dear friends, here also you can have n number of elif statement. And lastly, one else. I just want to specify one thing, dear friends. The first point, if you are having a if condition statement, yes, this can be executed alone without else part. That is, without else it can be. Second one, if it has a false statement, as like if it has else part, yes, of course, only one else has to be there. And third one, if it have, yeah, you can just have this elif and towards this condition statement, yes, dear friends, you can have n number of elif statement. And the most thing, if any one of the statement is true, and if it executed, if it is true and it just enters into this block, yeah, once after execution, it just comes out of the block of the whole if. I just repeat, if you are having or in any one of the condition, if one statement is true, anything, if condition or this elif or second elif or third elif or whatever be, or even anything, if it is not, it just jumps onto the else. And kindly observe, dear friends, if this any one thing is true and if it is executed, yeah, the exact flow of this statement would just comes out of the if loop. And now let me just see it with an example. So yes, dear friends, this one we have already discussed with the if and a condition. And yeah, here we have discussed with if and with an else statement. Okay, this is how we can just make use of only one else. Of course, kindly just observe, only one else has to be there for every if condition. And yeah, now we are under the third one, that is if and elif. And yeah, dear friends, kindly just observe towards this elif condition. Yeah, there also we have a condition that has to be satisfied. This is very much important. So let me just go with few examples here, and I just merge with few more. Okay, so first of all, let I just have an if with a num as a variable. Okay, and if it is greater than 0, and let I just make it, yes, print it's a positive number. And one more condition I just have. So here I just make num if it is equivalent to 0. Kindly just observe, dear friends, here I'm just specifying to equal, which is in the sense, yeah, it is equivalent. Okay, so it is an equivalent. So yeah, checking whether it is equal or not. And here I'm just going to make it, yeah, it is all about 0. And next, if there is no further condition, let us just go with else and print here as negative number. Okay, yeah, one more thing. Let me just get the value for n here. Yeah, even you can just get it first like an n int of input, enter the value. Okay, so here, kindly just observe, dear friends, on this, let I just enter 0. What happens? What happens? Yes, kindly observe one thing. Towards this, it just checks for the if whether the num is greater than 0. Actually, it is not. So, it not enter into this block. Rather than it jumps to the next condition, and here it just checks for the second condition. And kindly observe, dear friend, for this it checks whether the num that is equivalent to 0. Of course, what we have given, yeah, it is exactly 0. So it is equivalent to 0. So this exact condition makes true. So it enters into this block. And yeah, what happens? Once on entering into the block, yeah, two condition, it would be executed and comes out of the loop. Okay, I just get an error. Okay, what it is? Okay, num, it has to be num. Okay, so now let me just have it. So 0, and here I execute it. Yeah. And for your same information, let I just give the same thing, execute it. Here I am going to provide a -1. What happened? Yeah, towards this would be false, so it never enters here. And the second one, this condition is also false, so here also it not going to enter into this block. Rather than it just jumps to this else condition, execute it, and comes out of the loop. So that is what num, that is negative number. So you can have n number of executions or n number of elif condition. So let I just give you one more example which just has a few more number or few more elif conditions. So let me just have, okay, so grade is equal to select put 860. Okay, so this is what the input. Now kindly observe, if grade that is greater than or equal to 90, what happens? Yeah, let me just print it is A grade. Okay, and elif, if the same grade that is greater than or equal to 80, and here it is just print as like B grade. Again, one more elif condition, and we are now going to have a few more. Okay, so here if it is greater than or equal to 70, okay, I'm just going to have a print out as like C grade. And here it is not stopped. A few more is that elif, here the grade, if it is greater than or equal to 60, yeah, I'm just going to get print, and here it is D grade. And last but not least, else condition, and here it is print fail. So let me just have. So now observe, dear friend, what happens towards this? Yes. So here it is grade is equal to 60. So first of all, it just entered to this loop. Yeah, whether it is true? No. Actually, it is not true. So it won't enter here. Rather than it just jumps towards the next condition. Here also it checks for the exact solution and evaluating, and here also it is not satisfied that it is not a true condition. As it is false, it jumps to the next condition. Here also it is not satisfying the condition, so it just jumps on. And here, observe, dear friend, what happens is, yeah, here a if condition towards a grade that is greater than or equal to 60. Here I specified equal. So, and here also I specified greater than or equal, both the condition. Yes, as here it is satisfied. Yeah, it enters here, executes it, and we just get out the D as an entry. Okay, so here observe, dear friends. Yeah, you can just get this input as also from the user. Okay, so kindly just make use of it, and you can have n number of functionalities, n number of elif, as I have already specified. Kindly just be aware, for one particular if you can have else or without that. But for if you are having else, of course, only one else has to be there for an if condition. And secondly, I just repeat it, dear friends. Yes, kindly observe here. Yes, when on just making this elif condition, you can have n number of elif conditions towards that. Yeah, when on just making this, each and every conditions, when it true, it just enters. If it is not, it jumps on to the other condition. Now, we are having a number of conditions, okay, but for this particular statement, if you are having a number of condition, what happens? For each and every particular statement, there would be a combination of conditions. Yes, dear friends, for that you can make use of this logical operator. So here, yes, with this elif condition, you can make use of logical operator. And dear friends, not only for this elif, yeah, you can also make use of an if condition and with a logical. Kindly just observe. So here we are having condition 1, and I am just going to specify a logical operator and towards condition 2. And kindly observe, dear friend, when on satisfying this both the condition, yeah, or whether towards this logical operator, the exact statement below this if loop would be executed. If it is not satisfied, yeah, as usual, it just jumps towards the false condition. If you having else, yeah, it enters into the else. If it is not having else, of course, it comes out of the loop. Now, what happens towards this? Yes, observe, dear friends. Here we are just going to discuss on two types of logical. One is AND operator and the next one is OR operator. Okay, so here towards this AND operator, kindly just observe, dear friend, if you are having C1 as one condition and here C2 and to the next condition, here when on coming towards AND, yeah, both the condition has to be true to get executed of this, for this true conditions. So if any one thing is false, for an example, if this is true, this is false, or this is false, or this is true, or both the condition false, of course, everything it would be as like a false. So both the condition, if both are true, yeah, then only this exact if condition would stand as like a true condition. If any one of the thing is false, of course, as for here, if it is an AND operator, yeah, it seems to be as like a false condition. So it never enters the if block, rather than it jumps here. But when on making towards this R, so kindly just observe, dear friends, for this R logical operator, yeah, we are just going to have, this is C1 and C2 as two different conditions. Any one is true. Observe, any one is true, of course, we just get our output as like a true. So here it is true or false, or here false and true, and both the things are true. Yeah, we would get our output as like a true condition. And if it is both the things are false, yeah, we just resultant with a false condition. So that is what, dear friends, when we just make use of this particular functionality. So here, if we are going to have an AND, yeah, not only towards this, anything if we are having towards AND, yeah, both the condition has to be true to get it executed. If it is or any one condition is true, of course that is sufficient. And here, yeah, let me just have this example with an elif statement. Yes, so if condition 1 or condition 2, and here of course one particular expression, and elif condition here also maybe 1 or maybe 2 or maybe 3, anything, and or operator or whatever you want. Yeah, of course, kindly just be aware, if this exact condition is getting executed, yeah, what would be the following statement? Yeah, this exact statement, the sequence of the statement should be able to have the resultant of this. For this, I just give you a small example, dear friends. So kindly just observe here. So let me have a few examples with this logical operator. Okay, so let me have AND operator first of all. I'm just going to give one such a condition. So here, let me have a is equal to 0. Okay, so if that a, it is greater than 0, and here I'm just going to specify and to the same a modulus 2 that is equal to 0. What happens? Of course, I think you are all known about to that. Yes, if you are just having in such a case, this one print gives us an execution as like print a is okay, even and positive. Okay, so let me just have like this. Now I'm just going to give one elif statement, and here a is greater than 0 and a modulus 2 is not equal to 0. Kindly just observe, it's not equal to 0. So here what I just get is, of course, nothing but the thing a is positive, nothing. So here I'm not going to give any odd, or if you want here you can just add that too, no worries. And let me just have elif a which is equal to 0, and I'm just going to print, yeah, it's 0. And last but not least, let I just have else statement. Yes, print a is negative. Now kindly observe one thing, dear friends. Here what happens? First of all, here a is equal to 0. As here a is 0, we are just going to check not one condition, here two condition, and observe if both the things are equivalent only. Both the things are true because we are having an AND operator. So this exact AND operator, what it just makes, yeah, this exact AND operator makes both the things should be true. True on both. Okay, so if both are true, then only this exact statement would be executed. If anyone was false, it jumps towards the next condition. So now what happens? Whether a is greater than 0? No. But what about here? A modulus 2 which is equal to 0 is true. So in such a case, yes, as one is true, another one is false, both this condition, it won't be executed. That is, this exact statement won't be executed. So it jumps here. And what happens here? Greater than 0? No, it is not. Not equivalent to 0? No, it is not. So it moves on to the next statement, that is elif, whether a equivalent to 0. Yes, exactly. So this would be executed and we just get the result as it's 0. Now I just give you a small thing to be thought, that is to make a more small observation. Dear friends, here if for this condition, I'm just specifying a greater than 0 and a modulus 2 which is equivalent to 0. In such a case, if I'm having an AND, so this would be the resultant towards the statement here. And what I'm just specifying, yes, it is an even and a positive number. Now, if in such a case, if I just provide anything rather than this or any such a statement that is false towards this, how come? Yeah, kindly just observe here in such a case, if I just specify instead of this exact statement, if I just specify or, whether the condition would be true. So instead of this and, I'm just going to specify or. What happens? According to this, this exact statement is false or this is true. Okay, for this 0, okay. So here 0 is an even number, of course even number, okay. Whether 0 is positive number, okay, that is also okay. So here any 1 is true, this exact statement would be executed. Any 1 is true, this exact statement would be executed. So in such a case, yes, kindly observe, dear friend, this would be executed and it just comes out. But whether is it correct? Whether is it correct? No, it is not. Okay, how I just specify it is not correct. So kindly just observe here. I'm just going to give like this. A minus 2. Okay, A minus 2. And in this situation, A is greater than 0? No. But here, what about this? A modulus, whether is it equal to 0? Yes. But for this or condition, any 1 should be true. Okay, true on any 1. So what happens? So as this exact condition is true, we will executed this statement. But kindly just see, is this is a positive? No, it is not. Absolutely, it is not a positive number. It is a negative number. So kindly just be aware of what is the condition you are just providing, and secondly, what is the exact statement that has to be executed on towards this true conditions. You have to be very conscious, dear friends. And here repeatedly I'm just specifying, whenever we are just using this statement, yeah, here each and everything we are having only one print statement, but it is not limited towards only the print statement and not only to the one single statement. It is going to have an n number of statements. So be aware where to be used this particular statement and what you are just going to give towards the condition and towards the statement again. Now next, let me just move on towards the next one. It is nested if. Any if condition or any if statement that is within the next other ifs. I have given you a few different statements, different set of combinations. So kindly just observe here. We are having one condition here. If it is true, it is going to execute all these. And observe, dear friends, towards this inner condition, if it is true, it is going to execute this. If it is not, it comes towards the else and it comes out. Why it comes out? Yeah, of course, as I have already specified, if any one such a condition is true, it comes out of the statements. Okay. Next one, if this exact statement is not true, what happens? Yeah, of course, exactly, it is what? So it is just going to jump towards this else condition and we are going to get the output which coming from of these statements. So be aware. And here, one more combination I have just given here. Kindly observe, dear friends. Here, if towards an expression, that is a condition. If this exact condition is true, it is just going to follow all this, that is execute all this statement. And if it is further towards this expression, so here we have expression 2. If that's true, it going to execute this. If it is not, a check for the expression 3. If it is true, it executes this statement. If it is not, it just towards the expression 4. And furthermore, if it is not executing further, yes, dear friend, yeah, this else would be executed. And first move for the thing. If this expression 1 itself, it is false, what happens? Directly it just comes towards the else condition. Now I just give you a small example, dear friends. So let me just have a small discussion here. Okay. So first of all, we have an if and a condition. If this exact condition is true, if this condition, let I just make it as condition 1. If this exact condition is true, the statement below this if would get executed. If it did not, what happened? It comes to the else block, and whatever there in this else condition, it would be executed. Now, yes, of course, this exact statement is true. So it is entering here. And what is there inside? Kindly observe, dear friend. Here I am just going to have one more condition. Yeah, here we can have condition 2 or statement condition 3. Okay, some any combination we can have now. So in such a case, if both the thing or any one, as we are having or condition, if any one is true, it would be executed. The statement below the if would be executed. If both the things are false, what happened? It jumps to the next. And what is there in the next? Yeah, I have an elephant towards the condition. Okay, so if both the things are false, what statement it just comes? Yeah, it comes towards the elif, and here I have a C4. Okay, this is also not a true condition. Here, as it is not true condition, it entered here, and here it is also not a true condition. And here I have one more elif and towards the C5, and that is also not a true condition. Now what happened? What happened? Of course, dear friend, it searched for an else condition. And for you, surprisingly, if there is no else, what happened? Of course, it comes out of the loop. Why? Yeah, as it is true condition, it entered in. But even though it entered in, there is no such execution happen because other further condition it is not satisfied. But as this is true, it entered and it is executed. Even it didn't have any output of this, or it didn't have any resultant to this execution. No worries, as one is executed, it just comes out of the loop. So this is how the if loop condition happens, dear friends. So kindly just be aware. Okay, now let I just give you a small example onto this nested, and let me just move on to the next one. Okay, so here let I just give one such a condition, a small condition. So here a is equal to 10. Let I just have this variable value. Okay, and here I'm just going to check for a condition if a is greater than or equal to 20. Okay, so I just need to have print t. I just want to make a small conditions. Okay, let I have this. Yes, obviously. So if a is greater than or equal to 15, I just need to have print t2. Kindly just observe the indentation where it is happening and how it is happening. So it would be very amazing. And if you provide the exact syntax, the syntax if it is correct, of course each and every indentation it appears by itself. You don't need to provide or anything particularly or towards the purposely. So it is very much easy if you are good at towards the syntax. Okay, so let me just move on further. So here what I'm just going to have, yeah, of course, here let we have print all the above condition is false. So now what happened? Of course, I have a value a is equal to 10. Whether this if condition is true? No, it is not. So it never enters into this loop, rather than it jumps here. And see here, dear friends, as it is entered here, whatever be, yeah, this exact statement would be executed and it just comes out. And here, yeah, it has an inner if loop. Okay, so this is what I have, an inner if loop. And yeah, and here it checks for the condition whether a is greater than or equal to 15. No, it is not. Further, here it is a false, so it not enter into this print loop, rather than it just jumps to this else and prints it and executes it. Okay, and yeah, here I just make you one more difference. X is equal to 10 and y is equal to 12. Let I just give two variables. So here, if x is greater than y, what happens? I just make it x is greater. Next, here I'm just going to have one more elif condition. X is less than y. So I just need print x is lesser, and yeah, here we are not ending it. Furthermore, I'm just going to have one more if condition. X is equal to 10. Yeah, print x is 10. Let I further enhance with an else. So print x is not 10. Okay, now what happened? You can have one more else. So print x equal y. And observe, dear friend, what happening here. So when on making this value, so first of all, it just checks to this condition. If this is true, it enters here. Whether it is true, no, it is not. So it just jumps towards here. Yes, of course, here this exact statement is true. So what happens? This statement, all these statements would be executed and it just comes out. Okay, now what is that inside this? Here we have one print statement, and furthermore inner if loop, one more loop we have. And in this such a case, kindly observe whether if x is equal to 10, yeah, of course it is true, so it enters here. If you don't have any such condition, it just jumps towards the else and comes out of it. Okay, so as we are going to get a good output here. This is how it would be executed. Got it, dear friend? So this exact loop, kindly just be aware, you can have n number of elif, you can have n number of if condition, inner towards one or inner towards the other, yeah. So one if block within the another, yeah, it is specified as like a nested if statement. So be aware of it where you are just giving, and be conscious about that indentation, so that yes, if you provide the exact syntax correctly, the indentation would appear correctly. And coming out with the for loop, dear friends. So here, what happens towards the loop? Actually, it is specified as like an iterative. And in this iterative, actually what is this iterative is in the sense, yeah, kindly observe, when you provide an iteration, whether it can have happens towards any such a sequence. And in such a case, so kindly observe this condition of this. So if you are having an any iteration and it just checks whether the exact sequence ended or not. If it is not ended, yeah, it would be executed till it ends, and once the sequence ended, it comes out of the loop. And kindly observe, dear friends, we are having an syntax, yes, for element in the sequence, and inside this we have an body for the for loop. And here, one thing to be observed, that is, if you are having a sequence and that exact sequence to be executed one by one. And here in this for loop, we have to think of two information. One is, of course, you no need to provide the initiation, because that exact initiation, it is done by the system itself. And the second one, you have to know the exact elements in the sequence or towards the restricted value to where you want to stop. So if you know that, or if you provide that, of course the exact statement would be executed till the sequence ends or till the exact restricted value. Okay, now kindly observe, I'm just going to give you this particular statement. So here I'm just going to give a sequence. Kindly observe. So let we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And what's going to happen? So for I in this sequence, what I'm just having in this sequence. So kindly just observe, dear friend, this I is an element. This exact element, it is just going to have what are all the numbers that is inside this sequence. And how you are just going to get it is by one, and here for your information you can just name it as like I, or you just don't want to make it any further particular functionality. Okay, so that is here you can just provide I or any variables as like A or B or whatever with the thing. Okay, so any variable you can just see, but what the variable you are just having that, yeah, of course the same variable you have to provide it inside the functionality. And what is that exact functionality? So let I just have the same variable here. Okay. And yeah, observe, dear friends, this I didn't make the initiation. It just takes the index 0 from by itself and starts to work onto that first index value. It just checks, okay, yeah, I'm still inside the sequence, and it just print. What it prints? Yeah, it is just going to print 1. And it makes the iterative again by itself till the sequence ends. And observe, dear friends, this exact sequence still it not ended because I have still few more elements is there. So next it just goes for 2 and again execute, and kindly observe how the execution happens is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 one by one. Got it? Okay, now I just give you few more sentences. Dear friends, yes, you can have this exact sequence, anything. Here I just specified a list. You can have it as like a tuple. You can have even a string you can specify as like an each and every one by one statement. But rather providing this, if you want to specify a value, a randomly any range, or towards a final limit that has to be reached, yeah, there you can provide a function called range. And observe, dear friend, what this range happens when you just call this. And observe one more thing, this range is a default inbuilt function. Okay, so towards this, yes, observe, dear friends, here if I specified 5, and what would be my index? Yes, exactly. The index, it just starts from 0 and ends at 4. Superb, superb. So here, yeah, when on just making towards this, kindly add 3 attributes which we have just seen in the slicing. Yes, starting it is just going to come with 0 and stopping it just going to ends at 5. So 0 to 5, of course, it is not exactly 5. It is an n minus 1. So here we just ends at 4, and as defaultly the step here it is specified as 1. Okay, now let me just provide an example here with the range. Okay, so here I'm just going to provide a range here. So first of all, for I in range. Kindly just again observe, dear friend. Here I specified I as such like a variable. If you want to provide the I, yeah, it is not a problem. If you want to provide any other variables, that is also not a problem. But whatever you just specify here, kindly just be aware, you have to use the same variable inside the for loop iterations also. Okay, now coming towards here, I'm just going to specify a value 10. Okay, and here as towards the syntax, I have to specify the colon and makes an enter. What I need, just a print what I have already specified. So here I'm just going to print, and here as I specified I'm going to give an I here. Now, according to this statement, where it starts, yes, it starts from 0. Where it ends, okay, the stop actually it is 10 as here it is specified, but towards the system it is n-1, so it stops at 9. Super. And next one step, defaultly it is 1. Okay, so now observe, we just get 8. So first of all, I am my number is 0. So the print, it just gets to be printed as like 0. Then it iterates. Next, it just comes with 1 and again iterates. Next 2, 3, 4 till n-1, that is 9. Observe here. Okay, whether we have to provide this or defaultly it just takes 0. Or whether we can just customize the starting and ending number. Yes, of course you can, dear friends. And kindly just observe this one. I'm just going to give some other value. So range, can you see here? I'm just going to give 1, 11. Now let me specify what happens. What happens? As I have given A, I'm just specifying here also the same A. Okay. So what happens? Yes, yes, yes. Exactly. So here what it is as here it start from 1 and stop, yes, exactly, as it is n-1, it stops at 10. And what about step? Defaultly 1. So here it executes and we just get the output from 1 to 10. Even you can have a variation of this step also. For that I also just give you one more. Okay, sorry, here. Okay, I just give you one more example for I in range. Here I just give comma 12, comma 2. Now observe, dear friend, what happens? Okay, I give and make the print, then I just come with the explanation. So here, observe. Here, starting, yes, of course. So starting, it is from 2 and end it with 11, not 12. Observe, it is not 11, it is 12. It is exactly 11. Okay, and next, 8, step is 2. So what happens? It jumps with 2 values, that is alternative values. So I just get the output as like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and kindly observe it is not 12 because it just executes as till 11, and kindly observe the difference between this. You can have n number of applications like this or n number of examples. Okay, now one more example I just want to specify, dear friends. Yeah, let me just have a for loop with if else. For loop with if else. Okay, for I in range, let I just give, and I just give you 1, 11. Okay, so this is what my execution. Okay, and here inside this I'm just going to give a set of sequence. Okay, now what happens according to this? Okay, it starts with 1 and ends with Exactly. Okay, now let me just enter into the loop. What happens? Yeah, here I'm just going to give if that I which you specified is modulus 2 which is equal to 0. What happens? Yeah, I just want to specify that I value is even. Okay, else let I just print that I is odd. Now observe, dear friends, here what happens, so amazingly. So first of all, it just takes the 1, okay, and it enter into this loop. Of course, as this exact sequence is not ended, yeah, it would executes this and check for the element out, that is whether the sequence ended or not. Okay, so here in such a case, in this case, what happens is, yeah, when on just making towards this condition, here whatever be the statement below, it has to execute, then only the iteration has to be done. And in such a way, whether sequence ended? No, but it just check on. And here inside this iteration, kindly just observe, it is making one more functionality, that here it checks for I whether it is modulus 0 or not. That is one by one. It just takes one, check it and make the execution. Then it just goes for the second iteration. Then it goes for the third iteration. So like that, and kindly observe what is the output. So 1 it is odd, and 2 it is even, and 3 odd, and 4 even, like that. And here, dear friends, an interesting and amazing concept I am just going to give you. What happens when you just specify for loop with else? For loop with else. Here I just want to specify one thing. See, when you just give this if and else, what happened? What happened? You are having a if condition. If this condition is true, yeah, the statement below the if, it would be executed. If this is false, it jumps to the else. That is what now? But kindly observe, it is not the same as in for. Here, for is that I have a sequence and each and every element it get executed, and kindly just be aware, dear friends, once on execution is completed, this range has been completed, then it jumps to the else and get executed. Actually, what it is? Yeah, of course, it is as like a continuation. Then what is there for this else? Nothing it is going to do. But why we are going? Just making you a confusion. Of course, like this statement, yeah, you just can get it in an interview or like an MCQ or any program, whether what would be the output like that. Okay. So kindly just be aware, dear friends. Here, if this exact statement till the sequence ends, this get executed. Once after completing this execution, the else would just get executed. What are all the statement under the else? Of course, this get executed. That is what specified the for and the else. And for you, I just give you an amazing example. So kindly just observe. Here I'm just going to give. So let I just give some digits is equal to some list of it. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And here for I in that digits. Okay. I just want to have a print functionality. So print of I. So what happens? Okay. So it just get iteration. Once after completing, I'm just going to make the execution done. So see here, once after finishing this, after completing this iteration, this else statements get executed. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, then the execution comes. Hope I think so you understand this. Okay, kindly just make use of some other statements or executions and just have a practice. Okay, fine. And dear friends, here I just want to specify one thing I want to include. I am just going to make use of the control statements also. Of course, we have the third one as like a transfer statement. Yeah, that is what otherwise specified as like a control statement. And dear friends, this exact control statement, there we are having three different, that is break, continue and pass. Okay, so here let I just give you a small discussion what it is the break is for. Okay, so here this exact break statement, wherever you are, if it is a for loop here inside anything, and here some more iteration, if or else or whatever be, any place, if you have a break statement, of course it just stops execution further. Yeah, it just comes out of this for loop. That's it. That is the main thing. Okay, so here for loop, wherever this break statement comes, wherever you just get inside the loop, rather than a forcing thing, if you are just getting a break statement, yes dear friend, this exact break statement, it just comes out of the loop. What happens to the continue? One and only thing. So what happens is, in the sense, the current statement or the current iteration, it just get skipped, that is below the statement of this continue, it just gets skipped, but as the word gives, yeah, it continues the further loop till the sequence ends. I just give you again this definition, so kindly just observe dear friend. So what happens towards this break and continue? So using this break statement, we can exit from the for loop before it has looped through all the elements in the sequence. So for an example, here we have a list. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just going to have a for loop here. I'm just going to have this list. I in this list, L. Okay, I just want to have a print of this. Here, I'm just going to have a condition, that is if my I, which is equivalent to 3, what happened? I'm just going to give break. So at such a case of 3, before ending towards this loop, it just comes out of it. That is, it terminates the loop and just jumps out. So that is what specified this break. So breaking the loop and comes out. And what happened towards the continue? Yeah, as the name specify, it continues to all the sequence till 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wherever you just specify. But what is the thing is, when you just specify I is equal to 3 and if you just specify continue, the exact statement below this, that is the current statement below towards this, gets skipped and it goes for the next iteration. It just goes for the next iteration. Yes dear friends, let me just see two different functionalities of this. Okay, and I just let you know, give a thing. So